Hello and welcome. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. This is a breaking news live stream. Hollywood history is being made. You are witnessing Hollywood history and the stakes are high. I'm going to walk you through this. It's so nice to see so many of you. There is a lot to discuss. As with all breaking Q&A streams, by the way, Matthew, thank you for gifting a membership. But as with all breaking news live streams, I'm going to go through my talking points first, and then I'm going to open it up to a Q&A where you guys can ask me anything that you would like. But this is big. This is a game changer. There's so much happening. Fran Drescher has become a star. Bob Iger might have completely torpedoed his image. Oh my goodness, there's so much to discuss. All right, so hold on, let me get this over to the side a little bit. Okay, there's a lot going on. Okay, so first off, the first thing I want to say is I'm 1,000% in favor of the strike. And I hope if you are not, you will be by the end of this video. There's a lot of things that I think maybe aren't well explained, but I'm hoping to be able to break it all down for you. Now, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, has gone on strike. What does that mean? And I'll do a poll. I'll do a poll here. Anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member. Are you in favor of the SAG strike? Yes? No? And then we'll do a not sure. Okay. All right, so SAG has gone on strike. What does that mean? Well, it's only for film and television. That means that if you work in video games or you're an actor in other areas, you're fine. However, if you work in film and television, any medium, including voice work, you are on strike. And that means you cannot do anything. You can't make deals. You can't do any work. You can't do any prep work. Even though James Gunn has just signed a bunch of actors for Superman Legacy, they can't come in and do like costume fittings or anything like that even. They are totally out of commission. How long could this go on for? Well, this could go on, I think, probably if it really hurts, and I think with SAG joining it will, it could maybe be wrapped up by the end of the summer, like by Labor Day. However, it was just announced that the writers had always expected this to last till around September, but it was leaked in a really horrific story that we're going to discuss about the studio's tactics, that they were going to try and push this to October to really make it hurt the writers so much financially that they would be forced to come back to the negotiating table and accept whatever was presented to them. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I think people are fighting for their careers here, their livelihoods, and the possibility for anyone to be able to make a living as a writer or an actor now, ever. I think that this is crucial to the future of the industry. So it could either end in August or it could maybe end in September, October. I don't think it will go longer than that because, as you are probably seeing, there are some reports that this could cost $30 million a day now to the industry with actors joining the picket line. All right, so the big contention points. You might be like, why is everybody striking? Well, streaming residuals. It is now very hard to make a living. For those of you who aren't aware, if you work in the entertainment business, you are not consistently employed. So the goal is to get onto something that's successful, particularly when it comes to television, and make it get to a certain number of seasons. The magic number used to be 5. And then you could probably live off that money for the rest of your life. Fran Drescher, of course, was on The Nanny. I'm sure she's still making money off of that show. And she even talked about today that back in the day, everybody rode the gravy train from the top of the line, from the top of the above the line to the bottom of the below the line. Everybody got money. Even no matter what you did on the set, you would get residuals. Now you see people, actors in particular and writers, sharing their residual checks in the wake of Bob Iger's statements today, pointing out how little money they're getting in residuals. The writer of the She-Hulk episode that reintroduced Daredevil said that they only got $396 as their residual check. I'll just tell you that when I was an extra on Zombieland 2, I had just a few lines, as you know, in a small scene opposite Bill Murray. I got thousands of dollars in residuals off of that movie. So, and for just a few lines, okay? So that just goes to show you what you should be getting. So the fact that they got so little, they're getting so little money, and that streaming does not have residuals, and it is just horrific. It just takes away the ability for actors to make a living. And they were struggling to begin with. Now, the other issue, of course, is artificial intelligence. Now, some of you might be like, well, I've seen a number of you say, oh, artificial intelligence is the future. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, you need to be concerned, and I think Fran Drescher said every single industry and every single worker will soon be having this fight. And I believe that. Actors and unfortunately, I mean, I've had some of you reach out to me. I had someone who is a BTT viewer who works in bookings for airline agencies and said they were all being phased out so that they could be replaced with AI services instead. And so it's not just Hollywood. Hollywood is at the forefront of this, and I hope if you aren't already unionized, your workers should look to unionize, because this is really crucial. Now, so and AI, we'll talk about, they gave a horrific example in the press conference of how Hollywood wants to use AI. And it's just as absolutely horrible and disgusting as you would hope that it wouldn't be the case. You know, I'll tell you a little quick thing. When I grew up watching It's a Wonderful Life, I said nobody could be as mean as Mr. Potter. That's an exaggeration. And then I grew up and I was like, that's not far enough. People are far crueler than Mr. Potter. And that's just really the truth of life, unfortunately. But it's shocking to see it. You think that we've evolved and all the work that's been done, and it seems like we're just as bad as the Golden Age, where the 1% squeezed the 99% for everything that what they didn't have. I've talked many times on this show about the obliteration of the middle class. I really feel it's one of the main problems in this country and the world, and I feel like this is happening. It's going to get even worse with artificial intelligence. All right, so this is the first double strike in Hollywood since 1960. And some people are saying Ronald Reagan was the head of SAG. You know, I got to tell you, I see a political future in Fran Drescher, a political future for Fran Drescher. Fran Drescher stepped up to the plate today in a way I've never seen her do before. And everybody was thinking she couldn't do it. But a superstar was born today. And I'm like, wow, Fran, you might be able to run for national office in the near future. And I think she'd be great. All right, let's see how she does. But out of the gate, I've rarely seen someone this impressive. It was great. She didn't hold back. She was amazing. I have newfound respect for Fran Drescher. And she looked amazing, too. All right, so that's right, Danny, Senator Drescher, maybe even President Drescher. If she was the first female president, I wouldn't complain based on her speech today. I would be proud. She was that good. And if you haven't seen her speech, it's up on YouTube. You can check it out after this live stream. It's on the SAG-AFTRA account. They did a live press conference, and anyone can take a look at it, and it is incredible. All right, so this is the big one, though. SAG striking is what really makes the difference. This will shut down Hollywood, not only in the United States, but anywhere American actors are working abroad. Now, I was a little disappointed to see that The House of the Dragon will continue to film because it's mostly UK talent. And I feel kind of bad. The fact that show is able to move forward is unfortunate. It's pretty uncool. But anyway, I guess, I do like that show, but I feel that's uncool. But when the Writers Guild went on strike, everybody knew it was going to happen. They banked a bunch of scripts. Thank you for gifting those memberships, Gareth. They banked a bunch of scripts so that they could film and hold out throughout the writers' strike. Now, imagine this. This just occurred to me. What if they were able to scan all of the actors because there was not any protection and have artificial versions of the talent? Then they could say, go on strike for as long as you want. We can continue to make content because we have banked scripts or scripts written by artificial intelligence, and we have actors who can do the job because we're just going to use artificial intelligence programs. I mean, I don't know who would want to watch that. I think that's horrible. And anyone who saw Indiana Jones knows that you can make something look real, but it doesn't have the heart and soul of something that actually is real. And I feel very strongly about that. All right, so the strike actually starts at midnight tonight Pacific Standard. They announced it at midnight Pacific at noon Pacific Standard Time, and they're giving 12 hours until the official start. I think that's really to let anything that's filming today complete its day so that nobody has to walk off of set, okay? Although the Oppenheimer cast, to their credit, walked out of the premiere as the strike was getting ready to be announced. So that was really cool of them. Over in the UK. But anything that's filming can complete today's day of production. And I also think they did this to give the AMPTP, which is the studio's negotiating party, I think they gave them every chance to make a deal with this extra 12 hours. But they're so far apart, based on how Fran Drescher described it today, that I don't think that that's going to work. I don't think they're going to be able to do a last-minute deal. Because, the 12-day extension she discussed was a horrible situation that they'd already given. And we're going to talk about that when we get to the Fran Drescher section. But I just want to say, Deadpool has not wrapped. But I will say that, I was thinking maybe they might sign Lex Luthor by the end of the day, but I don't know what actor would want to seem like they were crossing the picket line. I think deals are probably done. I don't think you'll see any more deals signed. I think you'll this was again just to finish whatever was filming today. So it's done. It's over, okay? Now, make no mistake, this is a public relations war, and it's very much being fought in the court of public opinion. And for some reason, this morning, Bob Iger decided to step up during his CNBC interview, there he is there, and make himself the face of the studios in this situation. Why not let Zazie continue to be the target? I don't know why he did that. I mean, let's not forget, Startasha, thank you for gifting a membership. Let's not forget that Bob Iger was okay with letting Disney cast members sleep in their cars in the Disneyland parking lot when they were trying to negotiate a living wage over at the Disney parks for cast members, if you might recall that a couple of years ago. I mean, that is just, Bob Iger was like the only studio executive that people felt kind of good about because, everybody was hoping they were going to save us from Bob Chapek, who he actually is the one who selected. Thank you, Cesar, for gifting a membership. But his comments today were horrific. And he said that the Screen Actors Guild was greedy. They were the ones who were greedy, and that they were endangering the livelihoods of so many people who relied on the entertainment industry for money. But it's like, whoa, they're next in line, dude. Who are you kidding? As soon as you can cut them out, you're going to do that as well. And I think, considering how much these CEOs are making, all of these comments are absolutely ridiculous. CEOs are making tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Don't forget, Zazie just took home $250 million in a signing bonus for Warner Brothers Discovery. So these are not particularly believable comments. All right, so let's talk about the press conference from Fran Drescher. This was incredible. Again, as I said, it's up on YouTube. You can check it out. It's still there. And she did an absolutely incredible job. Now, she said she spilled some tea. Fran Drescher spilled some tea. She was out there. She played nice up until the deadline, and then she came out guns blazing. So she said, we agreed to a 12-day extension to these talks in good faith. But to our shock, the studios refused to talk to us for those 12 days. And instead, it seems, only requested that 12-day extension so they could have their big movie premieres, including Barbie and Oppenheimer. That's disgusting, okay? It also was revealed by some members of the press that a number of movies that are opening this summer that still have to come out, like Blue Beetle and Haunted Mansion, have banked interviews, press interviews. They did them during that 12-day extension. That's shocking to me. We thought they were trying to make a deal with those extra 12 days, but instead the studios asked for it, knowing that that's how they were going to use it, so that they would be able to hold out a little bit longer. So Fran Drescher said she was shocked at how they've been treated, considering she thought they had a good relationship. Now, during the press conference, the AMPTP, the studios, released a statement saying that they had offered a landmark deal that gave incredible gains, historic gains for actors, and that the SAG leadership had turned it down. They were like, whoa, we offered them great stuff. And they said, we offered them a historic, groundbreaking AI deal. So we're giving them what they want. So they asked Fran Drescher and her co-negotiator, some dude, he seems very nice. They said, what do you say to that? What do you say to their claim that you turned down an amazing deal? And they said, let us tell you about that deal. We'll tell you about this AI deal that was offered to us. Some of you already seen this. They said, for instance, for extras, we want to have the right to hire an extra for 1 day of work. And during that 1 day of work, we want to digitally scan them into our systems and then have the right to use that digital extra forever. And never work with that extra again. Not even for a special fee. For 1 regular day of work. That's what they want to do. They will never need extras again after a couple of months of that. That will kill what it is to be an extra. An extra is a very strong, it's not a great way to break into the industry, but some do it. It is a way to make a living. That's the most important. And someone might argue, well, technology has made that job obsolete. Well, let me ask you, how many jobs are we going to make obsolete before there are no jobs left? How are you not going to understand the realities of how people can make a living and what their availability is? Unfortunately, some people in the past have said, well, let's just send people back to school. Not everybody can afford to go back to school. Not everybody wants to go back to school. You have to have jobs that are available for people at every level. And that includes factory jobs, that includes extra work. You need to have jobs available for people at all different levels. And so the fact that the studios feel that that is a great AI offer is shocking to me. I agree with Fran Drescher. My jaw would be on the floor if that's what they put in front of me. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Obviously you're not. But that is just absolutely shocking. And then she pointed out, that's the delicate genius saying you make $183 a day as an extra. So you get $183 a day and you get $183 for your likeness forever. And do you know how much money you would be saving the studio? That is just horrific. Also, she pointed out that the nanny, as she said, everybody was on the gravy train for the nanny. Every single person, as I told you, from the top to the bottom. The nanny ran not just for 5 seasons, but 6 seasons in the 1990s. And as I told you, they are probably still, I would almost guarantee you, getting residual checks. Everybody who worked on the show, in front of and behind the camera, today. I'm still getting Zombieland 2 checks. I just got one yesterday. It's much, much, much less. It's really kind of whittled down at this point. I blame streaming. But yeah, and Zombieland came out like in 2019. So that's 4 years later. Checks are still coming in. So, and that, as I told you, was for 1 scene. So this is crucial. All right, so let's look at the studio side. So Bob Iger, for some reason, as I said, he decided to come out today and really completely torpedo his reputation. You're like, why, Bob? You were the only studio executive that anybody liked. So he said the business is still not recovered from COVID, and you will be costing people money across the board, from caterers. Teamsters are very upset. Although I saw some actors and writers point out, they said, costume designers, for instance, or let's say set designers. You guys are like, ooh, hey, we're fine. AI isn't going to take our job. Well, how about when they shoot everything on a green screen set and then they use AI to develop the set? They don't need a set designer. They don't need a costume designer. It's like they're going to take away, everyone is they're going to boil it down to people who can just execute the idea, and not come up with it. And that means they have to pay you significantly less. Ideas are worth the most amount of money. Always remember that. So that's really, really scary. And then, as I said, these people are making multi-million-dollar salaries. Bob Iger just got a 2-year renewal. He makes close to $30 million a year. not including bonuses. And some of you might say that some of that's in stock value, and that's true, but millions of it is not. And then why aren't the people who make the product, why aren't they allowed to participate in the company that they're helping? It's just absolutely horrific. Fran Drescher actually said the people eventually did storm the gates of Versailles. What a metaphor. What a comparison. Because, of course, you know what happened during the French Revolution. It was the 99% versus the 1%, and they sent the 1% to the guillotine. That is quite the loaded word to call it Versailles, to storm the gates of Versailles. But I gotta say, Bob Iger really had his powdered wig on this morning. And he was eating a lot of cake. That's right, Mika. He was eating forkfuls of cake in front of everybody on CNBC. And people were like, are you serious right now? Like, for real? All right. Is it Bastille Day, Linzek? I think it is like right around now. That's crazy. All right. So there was a report that came out yesterday that the studios have the studio's plan for the Writers Guild was to hold them to the point that they started to lose their homes. Either they couldn't pay their rent anymore on their apartments or they couldn't afford their mortgages. Oh, Bastille Day is tomorrow. That is quite fitting. That is when the strike will start. That Fran Drescher, she's good. She's good. So they said, that's what they said. The studios were planning to hold the writers to the level that they couldn't pay their rent or their mortgage anymore, and they would start to lose a place to live. That is shockingly cruel. I heard from some people I know in the industry this morning that while some studios want to give the people what they want, there are a couple of holdouts. And I wonder who those holdouts are. It sounds like Bob Iger might be one of them based on his comments today. I don't know why he couldn't have stayed quiet. And then people would be thinking, oh, I bet Bob Iger wants to settle. I mean, you're supposed, unless you're like making a deal, you're supposed to keep your mouth shut, man. That's what you have a press person for. You send that press person out there and you say, you go say stuff. So, that's just incredible. So some studios want to play this really disgusting hardball. Now, not only are the writers and the actors on strike, but tons of people are being fired at the studios, as you know. Thousands of them, thousands of people, literally. And the CEOs, again, continue to make tons of money. And it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they feel that they could argue this successfully. Now, I've seen some people say, well, why should I feel sorry for an actor in particular? Don't actors also make millions of dollars? Well, you're only thinking of the stars, but the stars are vital to a strike because they're the ones who can hurt the studio. If a working actor goes on strike, Hollywood wouldn't care. But if Matt Damon goes on strike, if Jennifer Lopez goes on strike, if Margot Robbie goes on strike, that is going to really hurt. So that's what you need. You need the actors who made it to strike to help everybody else who didn't, who is still hoping to maybe. Or someone, who quite frankly isn't going to make it as an actor. They're never going to be a big star, but they love their craft and they want to be able to make just a living. They want to have health insurance. And so that's who the big movie stars are striking for. As I've told you before, about 1%, that's right, the delicate genius, 1% of SAG can actually make a living as an actor. 99% needs another job because they don't make enough money to support themselves doing what they love. They're living the dream, and maybe someday their career will make it, which is why I told you, thanks for gifting a membership, Nate. That's why I told you that, Hollywood loves a working actor's success story because it means it could happen to them. J.K. Simmons didn't become a household name until well into his career. And then, it makes every other actor feel, maybe there's still hope for me. So that's what it's like to be an actor. That's the reality of being an actor. Pedro Pascal, that's a great example that's easy for you to say, oh, I love it. Your Ruby badge looks good on you. Pedro Pascal, Sarah Paulson had to give him her per diem. If you don't know what a per diem is, it's amount of money given to talent so that they can get a meal during a day, so they don't have to spend any money. So Pedro Pascal had so little money that he had to take Sarah Paulson's per diem, which is probably like, $60 a day, so that he could eat. He didn't have any money. And now look at him now. That's right, Ricardo. Jennifer Coolidge. Ke-Huy Quan. That's right, Sohail. Ke-Huy Quan had to quit and go to another industry. Hey, Nicholas, thanks for gifting 5 memberships. So this is all crucial. Crucial, crucial, crucial. But the top actors need protection for artificial intelligence. I've seen some tweets today, and I agree with this, that the studios are not going to just want to bank extras. They're going to want to bank all talent. They want to have contracts going forward, just like Black Mirror with Selma Hayek, if you've seen the episode, where they scan your likeness and your voice into the machine, and then they can use it forever without having to pay you any additional money or get your permission for what you're allowed to do. Black Mirror actually isn't that far away from Joan is Awful, which is absolutely shocking. So that's really, really important. And as I said, this is just the beginning of the labor disputes versus AI. I think you're going to see it in every business. And I think that, as I said, if you're not unionized, Amazon has been able to break the unions for their workers, which is horrific because Amazon workers are some of the worst treated on the face of the earth. You'd think they'd unionize for sure. But Amazon has been able to break it. I think there's one union that maybe got through, and it's been awful the way they've been treated. So if you are a worker and you see anyone talking about unionization, you should seriously consider it. Although, of course, make an educated decision because the companies are going to play hardball to try and break the union and keep you from joining it. It's horrific what they're willing to do, especially when they have. Nobody's saying a CEO shouldn't be paid millions of dollars. But do they need, you could cut Bob Iger's salary in half and he'd still be taking home about $15 million a year. Does he need the 30? I am in favor of capitalism, as many of you know, but not sickening capitalism that just completely destroys its own society. I feel very strongly about this, as many of you know. All right, let me close the poll and then I'll open it up to the Q&A. All right, so the poll said 77% of you are in favor, 14% of you are not sure, but interestingly enough, because it's anonymous, 8% of you are actually not in favor of, is the AMTP on here? Is Bob Iger getting all of his interns to click? Because that's crazy. That's right, Josh Loves Movies. Gladiator 2 and Mortal Kombat 2 had to go on pause. They had to stop filming, I'm sure after the end of today. But hey, they knew that what was potentially coming, and they're just going to have to wait. We'll see how long this goes on. All right, so Q&A section. Hold on, let me take out the breaking news thing and put up the Q&A. Whew, it's hot, so hot. I can't turn my air conditioning on while I'm live streaming. And it is very hot in New York City today. Stephen, it does not affect Broadway. Broadway is a different union, in fact. So Hale says, I saw an actor tweeting that they only made 15 cents for a residual, and Bob Iger has the gall to say it's unfair to him that they're striking. I agree. That's shocking. That's shockingly low. What happened to Aubrey? Aubrey said, I had a huge callback for Netflix, and now SAG is striking. Oh, no, Aubrey, I'm so sorry. But it's not like another actor is going to be able to audition, And when I'm sure they'll have it again, and they're not going to throw away their callback lists. And just think, you won't get scanned and be in Netflix shows in perpetuity without any payment. LMAO says, is SAG working with the Writers Guild to make sure they both get a renegotiation? Is there anything audiences can do? I think the only thing that you can do is support them. Don't go on social media and say, I wish you guys would settle. Say, we support you. Strike for as long as you need to. We will watch old movies and old TV shows if we run out of content. Just support them. I think, as I said, this is a battle of public opinion, and just be on their side. They really need it. And any pressure that you can put onto the executives, the booing, the swarming of the tweets, that I think is great. If the studios go, oh my God, I'm not only losing, if the studio says, hey, we're not only losing money, but we're also getting killed in public relations, that'll make them settle even faster. Be polite, keep it above the belt, don't go personal, but I think, I guess a good old fashioned, you disgust me. Just think, what would George Bailey say? But I don't think they're working together for their negotiations. Whoever gets the deal they want will sign it. They will not hold out for the other side. Oh, Paul, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Let's see. Mika, the DGA got a deal. They signed their deal, so they will not go on strike. If the actors had not gone on strike, that would have been very bad for the writers, so I'm glad that they did go on strike. Let's see here. Trey says, effect on awards shows. No one can show up to the awards shows. It's one thing if the writers can't come, but if the actors can't come, what's the point of having it? Which is kind of sad, but it's an unfortunate reality of the business. But no awards shows can go on now. No festivals, no film festivals. I mean, they can play the film, but no one can be there to promote it. I'm not a member of SAG. Rob McDoodle. That's a great name. Catimation, it includes voice actor. And by the way, this means Comic-Con truly is dead. I mean, it could get settled in a week, I guess, but no actors can go. No actors can go to promote. I mean, maybe they can promote something that's not a movie or TV show. They can promote comic book work, video games, interestingly enough. So that can go. But if it's anything that's on television or in a movie theater, Kat, even if it's voice work, this affects them. Josh says, how can they release movies and shows that are finished and completed without promoting or marketing them? Well, Josh, as we just discussed, they have banked some interviews and promo material for a couple of the upcoming films. But anything that's beyond August probably doesn't have what it needs. Joshua says, how do you see this being resolved? What are they likely to do to compromise? I'm not sure. That's the real issue, Josh, because they're both fighting for their lives. Writers and actors are fighting for their livelihoods, and I think that there's so much money being lost thanks to digital in the movie space and the entertainment space that they're looking at this a way to cut and slash their bottom line. And so both sides feel that they're fighting for survival, which is why it's so brutal. You got to wonder, the DGA sold its soul, man. Jason says, I wish the composers in Hollywood had a union. We deal with the same royalty issues as the actors and writers, but we can't negotiate the same way. Yeah, that's horrible that you don't have a union. Same for the visual effects community. They don't have a union either, and that's why they find themselves being worked so hard and mistreated. Jake Van Norden says, happy 4 months, Grace. Is it true Lizzie Olsen has already filmed for Deadpool 3? And do you think the whole film will be leaked by the time the strike is over? I didn't hear that she was even in Deadpool 3. I think it's horrible that the way the leaks that have been coming out of Deadpool. I think it's one thing to see the Wolverine suit. There was a very funny joke that leaked that I was upset that I even saw. So I really feel that Hollywood, I would let's throw in dealing with spoilers in here, man. I think that, I told you my kind of rule is anything that would be in promotional material is okay for the movie. But like a really big surprise, I think you got to be careful. David Monson says, does this mean that during the strike there will be a suspension on the residual checks as well? No, there will not. There better not be, because that stuff is still playing, and that's what you're getting paid for. Stola says, Bob has done the impossible. He now has both sides that hate him. Who's the other side that hates him? Oh, you mean Democrats? Yeah, that's true. That's funny, Stolas. I don't know why you would do that. I'm sure his PR person off camera was like, what are you doing, man? Toon Dude 19 says, Grace, I heard House of the Dragon is exempt because they have British actors. Yes, I was talking about that earlier in the stream. It is exempt. If there's any American actors on there, they're going to get replaced, which I don't know if that's legal, but and they can't write them out of the scene either, interestingly enough. But it seems they're almost all British, so it's okay. I think morally that's a little sketchy to me, but I guess there's nothing we can do about it. If I were an American actor, though, I'd be side-eyeing them from across the pond. I'd be like, are you serious, man? Roni, are you a WGA member? Are you on strike? If so, more power to you. I support you. Hey, Holly. Let's see here. Joshua, thank you for gifting a membership. Okay, hold on. I'm catching up on the questions. All right, so Juan says, how will this impact other jobs like producers, stylists, and people working in movies filming now? Are they fired? They're not fired, Juan, but they can't go into work, and therefore they won't be paid. So everybody has to stop because the actors won't come to set. So it's everybody. Nova Star says, it reminds me of the movie, the Congress, yeah, that's right, exactly, Nova Star. It's exactly like we were saying, like Black Mirror. Let's see here. Charlie Michael says, I know that this is serious, but I really want to see Logan Roy react to the news of the strike. We want to see Tom freak out and run around in a circle. Porkchop Polly says, will this affect the Barbenheimer box office? That's an interesting question. Well, there will be no more promotion unless they banked it. They might have some already pre-recorded videos. And I certainly hope they write on the bottom, pre-recorded, so that nobody feels anyone's a scab. Poor Margot Robbie, though. I thought yesterday she was getting not a fair shake on social media. I was like, it's tough for women, boy. But anyway, will it affect the Barbenheimer box office? I don't think so. I don't think anything can stop Barbie at this point. Barbie is launched. Barbie is a big deal. I think it's ready to go. But I think it might, in fact, let's see. Let's see what the coverage looks like. And also, let's see how brutal it gets. If the studios are revealed to be appalling enough, people might kind of like not be into movies right now, which is like an unfortunate reality. People might be like, I'm not going to go and give my money to that because that behavior is appalling. Wayne Edwards says, the plight of the actors versus AI was also the plot of two older films, The Congress and Looker. AI replaces real actors. Yep, that's a good point, Wayne, and thank you. That's very generous of you. Oh, Sion, where'd your message go? VTTV says, will the Marvels have to release without promotion? I don't believe so, because it comes out in November. This should be settled by November. If it's not settled by November, $30 million loss a day, that's nuts. The government will have to intervene. The federal government will have to intervene. Lloyd, I think this will affect the stock market, especially if it drags on. It'll affect the stocks for the studios, which could also help the writers and the actors if it gets really bad. Thank you, Adrian. Toon Dude 19 says, is Netflix at fault for this? They kind of led the way for studios wanting to be a part of streaming, where actors and writers' residuals begin to wane. All the greed. I don't know. It's hard to know if Netflix knew what would happen, right? And for a while, people were making sweet, sweet cash out of Netflix. Netflix was just throwing money around. They made an SNL sketch about them. They were literally throwing around money in the sketch because that's what it was like. So I wouldn't blame Netflix per se, but I think streaming is culpable. Amit says, does this affect animation? I do not believe that it does, unless you're using a voice actor who is SAG. And because the animation would play in a movie theater or on television, you can't use them. But if they've already pre-recorded it, you can still animate it. Jack says, hey Grace, great stream, hope you're well. Thank you. Do you think this will affect box office if promotions are limited? I just addressed a similar question to that, Jack. Rob McDoodle says, thanks so much for this analysis, Grace. What would be your top 3 asks from studios if you were Fran and SAG leadership? That's easy. I would want residual participation. I would want, AI protection, that you could not scan an actor without their approval, and that it would have to I would not have it be in perpetuity. You'd have to do a renewal of the contract. I would say if you're going to scan this, it has to be for a significant amount of money up front, and then it has to be renewed every 5 to 10 years. I probably would ask for 5 as a negotiator and realize I would get 10, but I'd be like, if you think I'm going to let you have this forever, you're nuts. It has to be renegotiated either by the individual or their estate, their ancestors, because this is forever. This is forever. So I'd be like, every 10 years, you got to renegotiate this. And so that's a lot of money. And then that kind of makes it not worth their while, quite frankly. Alan says, everyone hates talking to AI when they are trying to get to customer service. Me too. I can't tell you how many times I've shouted agent into the phone. It'll be longer and longer. Every company is trying to get AI to work the phone. It's true, and I really hate that. I always would like a person, thank you. Jay Altman says, do foreign actors working on U.S. projects have to join SAG like Hugh Jackman? Yes. Yes, they do. Hugh Jackman is definitely, especially if you're doing work in Hollywood, Hugh Jackman is definitely a SAG member. Danielle says, well said as usual. Oh, thank you, Danielle. We have so much content to watch. Let them get what they deserve. This could be any of us fighting for our right one day. Exactly. And you want everyone to back you as well. Rye Bigby says, Grace, how will this affect your day-to-day job as a streamer? Maybe you could start covering comics. Well, some of you had some ideas. We might do some stuff. I don't want to give it away. I have some suggestions that we probably might implement. I've still got trailers and I still have movies to cover. And I have the strike to cover, which should be a story. So I'll get through it. I want the entertainment business to be healthy so that people continue to love it and be interested in it, so that I can continue to cover it. So this is in my best interest as well. It's really a short-term hurt for a long-term reward. That's really what it is, I think. Hey, Holly. Let's see here. Big League Chew, why can't you send a super chat? That's weird. Art Lover says, did you already discuss Sarah Silverman's AI lawsuit? I did not. I mentioned that in my Mission Impossible spoiler review, which I'll edit and post tonight, and then I'll do the DC video tomorrow. But Sarah Silverman is suing ChatGPT for scanning her book as material to learn from when she did not give it permission. And I think that's a really good idea. It's part of a lawsuit with several other authors. And I was like, yeah, it could work. Jake Van Norden says, what is stopping them from making a deal with SAG? Clearly they have the money and they know that without their actors, they literally cannot work. Well, Jake, what's stopping them is they want to be able to save this copious amount of money. And they're hoping that they can pressure the actors through social pressure, by calling them heartless and saying, oh, you're responsible for everybody else not being able to work. And also to try and scare them out of not being able to afford to live. And therefore to be able to cut down their pay even more. That's just so sad, considering actors are some of the worst poorly paid people in show business. Ibrahim says, love being a first-time member. Oh, I'm so glad. And this will affect film festivals. No actor can attend. Holly says, will this affect actors doing public appearances where they do not promote their shows or films? Yes, they can go outside, but they cannot do anything that is work. They cannot make money off of themselves in the capacity as an actor. They could go get some other job if they needed to, if they want to. And writers are already getting other jobs to support themselves, and you'll see some actors. In fact, so many actors already have day jobs because, as I said, 99% of them can't support themselves as is. Kledgy says, but on one hand, Grace, a She-Hulk writer said they got paid $400 in residuals. I think it's too much. But that is who I was talking about, Kledgy, the $400. That is ridiculously low for a residual check for a show that just aired. Hey, Kyle, thanks for gifting a membership. Sion, stunt people are not a part, maybe they are a part of SAG. Isn't there a stunt category for the SAG Awards? Let's see here. Jason said the directors were supposed to hold out so all three unions would be able to really have the leverage to move the needle. That's true, Jason. The directors did screw everybody else over. It's really horrible. Never forget. But the writers and the actors are powerful enough. Subasisu says, Grace, so the studio is really this greedy. I want to believe that the box office and streaming losses are also a factor in this. They are, for sure, but it's greed. It's greed and wanting to, I think that once you let a studio executive take an unfair amount of the money, all the other studio executives, and I can't blame them, go, well, if they're taking all that money, why don't we? And so government really needs to step in and limit what a studio executive or what any CEO can take in terms of compensation. Now, again, I think studio executives and CEOs should make millions of dollars if they run a multi-million-dollar corporation, but they don't need to make as much as they are making. Jorge, Wicked has not wrapped. Wicked will have to shut down. Let's see here. Sophia says, hey, Grace, great stream. House of the Dragon UK actors legally can't strike in solidarity because they're governed by the Oh, that's a good point, Sophia. That is a good point. They can't strike. But I guess, I hope the UK union is looking at this very closely because they're going to have their own AI argument in the near future. Kayla says, any update on Yellowstone and will you watch it? What do you mean an update on Yellowstone? You mean like who's going to take over? I haven't heard who they're going to replace Kevin Costner with. And I'm afraid that show just isn't for me. I tried it once and I just couldn't get past a few minutes. Randy Grimsley says, but all due respect to people who do enjoy it. Randy says, can performers do web-based or social media only stuff, like a show just on Facebook? If not, I can see lots of non-union folks creating their own skits or shows, which could go big if people want fresh. Nope, that's acting, Randy. That's acting. They can't do it. I mean, it would just seem like they were a scab. You know, I mean, like you're saying like how John Krasinski created in, Some Good News, right? Could they do that? I don't think so. That would be developing and pitching a show. I think it would be really frowned upon. Andrea says, Grace, do you think they'll continue filming anything that's going on outside the U.S.? They cannot if they're using American actors. Thank you, Jay. Let's see here. That's right, Adrian. House of the Dragon for the Emmys next year will be like, we're the only show that came out. Oh. Jordan says, will this affect the conventions as well? As I said, yes, it will. Conventions. Done. I mean, again, if an actor's showing up to promote a video game or something else that isn't something that's movie or TV related, then they can go. Oddly Specific says, how is the deal reached? Can actors create a studio that complies in film? No. Do all existing studios have to agree? Yes, they do, because this is the contract between the union and the studios. That's how a union works. They can't have, I mean, at some point if it got really, really bad, maybe a studio could break and their productions would be allowed to move forward. But that itself would have huge repercussions and studios would lose their, and also, how do you not have a studio then create an even more beneficial deal, right? If the studios don't all have the same deal, then a studio, like let's say someone who wanted a competitive edge like Apple TV, could go and say, I will not only do the deal, but I'll give you even better opportunity. And then suddenly everybody wants their project to go there. So you really just can't do it. They have to stand together. All right, let's see here. BNH says, oh, Randy, I'm so glad you're enjoying the stream. BNH says, so could Hollywood actors go back to Broadway? Like, I have a feeling the Broadway scene will be crowded. So, that's a good point. They could go back to Broadway. They could. They could. Although if they made the deal intentionally, I think everyone might be looking at them from especially if a movie actor, I mean, then they'd be putting a Broadway actor out of work, right? If they didn't already have the deal. It would be kind of uncool. You'd be like, oh, so in order to protect your income, you're taking away the income of a Broadway actor, and you're kind of scabbing. Jake Van Norden says, this is so frustrating, but they are so lucky to have you to be a powerful voice for them. That's a very nice thing for you to say. They're lucky also to have Fran Drescher. It's my pleasure to stand with the actors. I think we all should, the actors and the writers. Juan says, hey, Grace, can actors tweet or post in social media about their movies? For example, can Margot post her red carpet looks for Barbie? I think she would get in trouble. I would say that was a big no-no. Because here's the thing. She might be like, but it wasn't me. It was my assistant. Or I preloaded those tweets. You know, like you can preload tweets. I do it all the time sometimes if I'm not going to be out when a video drops. if I'm not going to be at my computer. So you could technically do that, but I think people are going to feel it's uncool. You're supposed to be on strike. You're not supposed to be looking for ways to get around it. And Margot Robbie went above and beyond the last couple of weeks for Barbie. She's good, I think. Let's see here. Andrew says, based on previous questions, will Wicked have to shut? Yes, it will have to shut down. Let's see here. Snooperton99 says, do daytime talk shows count as well? I don't know if they're SAG. I think they have their own union. Oh, Roni, you're a costume designer. My pleasure. I stand with everybody. Oh, iReady, thank you for gifting some memberships. Diana, thank you for gifting a membership. You both look fabulous. Bryce says, the studios probably didn't realize that streaming wasn't the cash cow they thought it was, but their greed shouldn't hurt anyone else. Yeah, and they'll figure it out. But yeah, streaming turned out to not be a cash cow. They just have to really take a closer look at how Netflix is able to succeed, quite frankly, because Netflix does make a lot of money. Connor says, is there a residuals difference between digital and physical sales? There is not. The issue, Connor, is with the streaming, because it's not an a la carte menu. Streaming is a subscription-based service, so there is no residual anymore, and that's why there's a problem. She-Hulk airs on Disney+. That's probably why that writer's paycheck is so small. She-Hulk airs on Disney+. There is nobody pays to watch She-Hulk specifically. So the studio gets to come up with some cockamamie way to how they come up with your residual. Davey B. Jones says, what about actors who have podcasts discussing their own shows, even shows that have been off the air for years? I think a podcast is still cool because it's not film and TV. So they can definitely continue with their podcasts. Steven says, big name actors still do deal partnerships. Can they still do big deal partnerships or be the face of brands that have not? Yes, that's a commercial. They can still do that for sure. Hey, Chris Vergara. Magnus says, how can Netflix ever pay out residuals when they use all of their money on producing and they have no other form of revenue stream? I stand with the writers and actors because I'm an actor myself. Well, Netflix doesn't pay residuals, Magnus. That's the answer. Netflix doesn't have residuals. Netflix pays all of your fees up front. They pay a larger amount up front with the understanding that you will not get any more money from that. Oh, everybody's here saying that stunt is a part of SAG. Oh, that's great. I'm going back, Randy. I'm going back. Anna says, Grace, do you think a film festival like Telluride could continue without actors and just screen the movies? Or do you think that is DOA? I'm going this year and want to support actors. Well, you could still go if they still have it, obviously. But I think that I don't know if they'll continue to hold it without, because a big part of a festival is the press opportunities, and there will be nobody really to interview. There'll just be the director, I guess, and producers. And what are they going to say? Lewis says, what does this mean for Beyond the Spider-Verse? Well, they said Haley Steinfeld hadn't recorded her lines yet, and so she wouldn't be able to, but the animators can work on it. A says, Beyonce has a new music film coming. Would she not be able to release until the strike is over? I think that counts as a music video, so I don't believe that is the same thing. Hey, Gilberto, I'm glad you made a stream. I don't know why some of you can't send super chats. Isaac, try refreshing the page. Isaac says, are all actors in SAG? Do you know what are the requirements? I'm glad you're enjoying the stream, Isaac. My pleasure. You have to have been in a certain number of SAG productions to get into SAG, and then you have to start paying your dues. Every union member pays dues. And that's how you get into it. You don't have to be a SAG member to start out being an actor, but once you qualify to join, you have to join, or you can't really be hired on anything that's a SAG production, and everything is a SAG production. So they can hire a new actor who isn't a SAG member yet, but the understanding is that if that person keeps getting hired, they will become a SAG member. And SAG will protect you immediately. Even if you're not I'm not a SAG member, and they still send me my checks and look out for me. Even if you're not a SAG member, you still register with them on your production, and they look out for your residuals and take care of you. Nick, and so they're like, see how great it is? See you after your third job. Nicholas says, I'm for CEOs, and the 3% get paid less. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, Nicholas. That isn't. You're for CEOs, and the 3% get paid less. I don't think you could possibly be saying that you're for CEOs and for them not having to pay taxes. It seems like you are saying that, Nicholas, because you say skill jobs, just like sports, only the top get paid, the rest need to accept that they didn't make it. Oh, Nicholas, I implore you to rethink that position in life, because I think it's going to hurt you. I think that, you know what the famous saying, everybody you meet on the way up, you meet on the way back down? That's very true in life. And I think you should treat everybody the way that you would want to be treated. And also, you say somebody didn't make it, and you're assuming that it's all based on skill. That's not true in life. I know so many talented people who didn't make it, who there's no reason that they shouldn't have made it. They're awesome, they're extremely talented, they have a great look, they've got everything. They've got personality, and things just did not work out for them. You're not always in the right place at the right time, no matter what ability that you have. And sometimes people who don't have a lot of ability luck out and are at the right place in the right time. And so I think that you should, just like I say, nobody can help what body they're born into or where on the globe they start out. Sometimes some things are beyond your control, and you should try to really be sympathetic to that. Let's see here. Art Lover, Art Lover, I did do the AI thing. All right, I'm caught up there. That was brutal, Nicholas. Miguel says super chats that are too long require a longer donation. If you don't pay more, you can't. Thanks, Miguel. Maybe some of your super chats are too long. Wardrex says, do you think that consumers will churn less and the streaming count could boost during this time? No, I don't think that'll make that much of a difference. Hey, Angel Torres. Jason says, Netflix set the bar to mess things up for people. They were a new thing and no one knew they would become the model. Studios were so happy that they were going to have a model to... That's probably true, Jason. I think they looked at Netflix and said, they don't have to pay anybody residuals. That looks great. But then they didn't realize that Netflix is a totally different business model overall than the other studios. And so they're just different. Oh, Danielle. Yes, the Toronto Film Festival. I'm sorry if you're working on that. Hey, Big League Chew. That's a cool sticker you chose. Let's see here. Frankenstein says, I got tickets for Monsterpalooza, a horror convention this October, mainly because I want to meet Elvira. Could this affect that? I think October seems, never say never, but October I think seems pretty safe. I think you should be okay. Andrew, I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. Renee says, hey, Grace, I was wondering how this would affect something like Critical Role. A bunch of voice actors playing Dungeons & Dragons feels like a really weird gray area. Well, that's just something they stream. They couldn't work on their television series for Amazon, the animated show, but they could, they could do their YouTube show, their streaming or Twitch show. Randy says, how about daytime TV like The View? Well, that's an interesting question. That's a news show. So I don't know if that would affect that or not, to be honest with you. That's a good question. Stalin Falcon says, I love the Barbie puppy promo. That was cute. Alwatch says, am I going to enter my gaming era? Let's see how long the strike goes on for. Let's see here. Super Extrovert says, what should young inspired writers and creatives do for their future? Give these jobs may be taken away from real people in the future. Oh, yes, I think that's what you're saying, Super Extrovert. Exactly. Everybody feels that this is what they're fighting for, the future of the business. Not only the future of their own job, but for anybody. Anime Lover says, what major movies have to stop filming? Well, Deadpool 3, Mortal Kombat 2, Gladiator 2. They had a big list, I think, in the Hollywood Reporter. Wicked. A lot of big ones. Deandra says, what are the details of the deal that the directors made with the studios? I don't believe that's really been totally disclosed. Holly says, can you unblock my bestie, Emerald Parr? He is such a big fan. Is that on YouTube or Twitter? DM me on Twitter to ask about that, please. TuneDude19 says, will reality TV make a comeback through all this? Maybe. I guess they could still do reality TV, I think, actually. Maybe. I am looking forward to The Amazing Race, but, this is a big thing. They can't not have anything in the pipeline. Ruben Bernardo says, as a screenwriting student graduating from AFI next month, this cannot be more important. Sadly, the AFI refuses to publicly support the strike. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ruben. But that's too bad. But I'm glad, I heard the Writers Guild is the best guild. I heard they do the most to help their people. So I'm glad you'll be able to hopefully join that guild. BNH says, so could Hollywood actors go back to Broadway? I just talked about that. Okay, a couple more questions and then I'm going to close the stream off. Beetlejuice 2. I don't know if that had started. Yeah, but anything that was about to start filming. Like Tron 3 was hoping to start filming in August. That now seems unlikely. Jason Acker says, speaking of advertising earlier, this is the time you'll see actors you'd never think of working on a perfume commercial. Probably, maybe. Stephen Titter says, asking because we talked about Bob Iger, did you see about Disney maybe wanting to sell through their linear TV verticals? Let's see. Let's see if they actually do that. Angel says, I don't understand how people label and make shows like Yellowstone seem political. The show is well done, representation for Native Americans and their issues, and multiple awesome story arcs and surprises. I don't watch the show, Angel, so it's difficult for me to speak to that myself, but I can say that that is the reputation that the show has, and it does have an unusual number of conservatives who enjoy it and really power it to be very successful, which has given them a lot of power in Hollywood as an audience. So I think that's important. Let's see here. Oh, Franco, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Bug says, made the end of the stream. I'll have to rewatch from the beginning. Happy Thursday, all. Yep, that's right. Happy Thursday, everybody. Let's see here. David, Whoopi is a SAG member, but I don't think she's working in that capacity on The View. Cole said, about the Emmys yesterday, I don't get why the guy who played Jared Menken wasn't nominated for a guest when Stewie was, and he wasn't as impactful. No, I think that Stewie is a bigger role, to be honest with you. Jared Menken, I think that's the guy who was running for president, right? That was a pretty small role. ES says, I fully support this, but how would they pay residuals if they don't have specific incomes for content? That's the problem. That's what they have to figure out. But I think actors are like, you can't just create a new system that doesn't benefit us and then shrug and go, oh, well, the new system totally messes up things for you. Sucks to be you. I think that, that's a good question. They might create a situation where they no longer have subscription streaming, that you have to watch stuff like the way you would on iTunes, where you have to purchase a season, which would be also very expensive. But considering how much money we're spending on streaming right now, maybe it's doable. Daniel says, sad to miss Venice because of this, but respect to actors. Yeah, it's important. And Joshua says, my boyfriend hasn't worked in the biz in years, but is still part of the union and pays his dues. He gets screeners for the awards. Oh, that's pretty great because he votes. Good for him for continuing to pay his dues. Alan says, let's go back to cable. Streaming sucks. Hey, Guido. Ernie. Let's see here. All right, I think we're all caught up. I think I'm pretty caught up. Let me just do oh, that's right. David, Captain America 4, whatever they were doing there. Toon Dude 19 says, will Disney have to adjust their Marvel slate again due to actor scheduling being affected by all this? Let's see how long the strike goes on for. If it goes beyond August, then it might start to affect film release dates. Austin said, why did the directors cave so fast? I believe because they're a smaller group. You only have 1 director per project. So it's much easier to give them what they want, sadly. And even for a television show, you have less directors than you have writers and actors. Let's see here. Thanks, Rick71. That's very kind of you to say. The Brennan V wants to see John Cena on Broadway. He can still wrestle. Let's see here. Mecky Powell says, do you think that the White House can step in and help? They recently helped the railroad unions. I do believe if this goes beyond August, the federal government will likely have to step in and help moderate it, or mediate it. Mediation is the correct word, because this just can't drag on. It's going to become too economically too much of an economic disaster. I wish that the government would step up and do something about AI, quite frankly, and I'm upset that they're not doing it. It's going to once again fall to the courts. Oh, bye, High Priest 02. Are you still here? High Priest 012, are you still here? Are you still here? Oh, no. I hope you maybe didn't log off. Say something. I'll give you a minute. Are you there? No. All right, let me do some shout-outs. Hey, Dory. Let me do shout-outs because now I feel bad. Angel says, well, we already talked about that, Angel. I already saw that and answered it. All right, so this is just the shout-out section. No more questions, please. Just tell me where you are and what you're up to so I can say hi. This is not my new Barbie shirt, Daniel. This isn't actually that pink. This is like salmon-y, but I guess it kind of technically is. Let's see here. Hey, Bob Ray. Let's see here. Andrew is in bed in Chicago with COVID. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Oh, I hope you feel better soon. David says, wrapping up the last hour of work with this fantastic stream today. I'm glad I could keep you company. Oh, look, Diego is an interior designer in LA. First time member. Hilarious. I love it. Fantastic. PJ says Los Angeles, procrastinating going to the gym. And Adrianic says, hi from Puerto Rico, having fun watching the stream. Yay. Comic Boom says, I am in southern Alberta, Canada, enjoying your insights. I love talking to you guys from across the globe. Lewis Cook says, watching from home in Virginia. Dory Does Voices says, just got off work, looking to binge some Doctor Who tonight. Brett Crandall says, getting my car to the shop as I prep for a road trip to New York City next week. Oh, that's exciting. Frosty Salt is seeing Mission Impossible 7 tonight in Georgia. Well, LL says it's almost 1 a.m. in Tel Aviv and just ate 2 falafels. Oh, someone's having a late night party. Look at this. Rye Bigby is on the way to the county fair with husband and 2 kiddos. Wow, what a great time. What an exciting thing to be able to do. I love country fairs. I hope you have a good time. Billy Zane, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That's very generous of you. Ricardo Sanchez says, as usual, me and my partner Brian are in Edinburgh having a bottle of wine, enjoying your live stream. I love it. Hello to your partner Brian. Mish says, I'm in my PJs enjoying Clone Wars and Rebels, trying to watch both at the same time in Cape Town, South Africa. You're going to be ready for Ahsoka. I love it. Cosmic says, I'm in Fresno, California. I'm crying from the inside because all I want is for people to get along. Yeah, I wish that too. Let's see here. Ratatataraxia says, making pizza in Baltimore. Oh, that sounds delightful. Well, Daniel Haradi is in Scotland eating a jam donut. Oh, I love jam. Have you ever had Jammy Dodgers from the UK? Whenever I've been to Epcot, we always pick up some Jammy Dodgers. Oh, Brett Crandall says, my fiance Mark says hi. Hi, Mark. Well, Dwight Baldwin is in Phoenix trying to beat the heat. Oh, and Linda Jordan got a membership. Hurrah, I love it. Huzzah. Let's see here. Mr. Magic. Hey, Mr. Magic. I love the emojis there. Danny Sands is in Madrid about to watch the season finale of The Bear. Oh, which one? Which season? Either one. It's fabulous, I'm sure. Oh, look. RPW Gay Foodie just finished The Bear. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, look. Dory Does Voices loves Jammy Dodgers. Oh, I love it. Let's see here. And Justin Bocci says, from Idaho, just got home from work and I'm going to spend some time with my family tonight. Oh, that's so nice. And Titans Mistress says, happy member of the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario and enjoying my well-deserved time off. Yeah, good for you, Titans, mister. I'm glad that your union looks out for you. And then VTTV says, my sister says hi. It's her birthday. Happy birthday to your sister. Oh, look at all the Jammy Dodger love. Oh, I love it. That's going to make my family very happy because we do love the Jammy Dodgers. Wardrak says, hey, Grace, I'm writing my character outlines for my novel. Ooh, that's exciting. Good for you. I'm glad you're taking the time to plot it out. That's good writing. Oh, Danny's on season 1 of The Bear. Oh, lucky you. Season 2's all ready for you. Silver Scale says, looking forward to Comic-Con next week in San Diego. It'll be low-key, but maybe that'll make it really nice and relaxing. And you can not only enjoy the convention, but San Diego, which is awesome. Oh, for those of you who don't know what a Jammy Dodger is, it's like a small biscuit, which is British talk for a cookie. And it's like a tiny, tiny, like little Linzer tart, kind of. But it's made commercially. It's commercially made. So I think it has a little less powdered sugar on it and stuff. If you've ever had, Milano makes a similar cookie, like a thumbprint kind of cookie, which is a little similar. Oh, it's Colton Lee is also watching The Bear, but season 2. I'm glad my top 10 list for the year so far is helping you. All right, I better get going. Oh, Chris, I'm glad you like my Jammy Dodger explanation. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, David, look at David going to the Barbie premiere in London and Oppenheimer today. Oh, that's awesome. And David Kivoto says it's 100 degrees in Texas, finishing the day, gym, and then movies tonight. And next week, you're off work. Oh, just in time for Barbenheimer. All right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for joining me for this live stream. Content later today and tomorrow. And then we'll see what happens next week. It's Barbenheimer, so I'll be covering those movies. And then also, of course, I think I've heard the Marvels trailer should be coming out as well. So we'll have some stuff at least next week. And then Comic-Con, but I think the only real thing coming out of Comic-Con is the Harley Quinn trailer for season 4. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty quiet out there. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Stay cool. Bye.